Archimex login confirmed.
Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Vroom vroom, hello and welcome to the Lodgecast. I'm your Lodge Master. With me as always is Brother Bishke.
Oh, dude. You get one allowance.
He's honking the horn, making Brother Nathan in the back nervous. What's up, Nathan?
I'm here. Vroom, vroom.
And we don't know whether or not he's going to go into the movie yet or not, but he is in the Prius. Technically, it's Brother David.
Hello. To be clear, it's entirely clear to me whether or not I'm going to go to the movie.
So enjoy him while you got him. As you can tell by the sound quality, we are out on the open road right now.
110 South.
This can be viewed from multiple brilliant angles. One would be that we are doing this thematically because the movie we're about to see is Trading Paint. It's a NASCAR movie. So may as well be speeding down the freeway. Another possible reason that we're doing this is because the only theater playing this movie is an hour away. So we are running late, and if we're going to get an unvarnished, wide-eyed, dewy-lipped opinion of this, it's going to be on the way there. So we're mobile, guys. What are we feeling right now? What are we feeling about John Travolta? Last we saw him, he was killing speed on the boats on the open water.
I think he's going to be winning again in NASCAR. I don't know if Trading Paint's based on a true story. But
I'm sure it is, at least inspired by...
It's a father-son drama, right? We know that much.
Now, Nathan...
I know some more stuff.
You know more than we know. Did you see a preview of this?
I've only seen the trailer like everybody else, but I had to, I worked on the production of the movie poster.
He was involved.
So the orange movie poster that's out, representing the film.
So you're kind of a big deal right now. This is a big
Woo!
Screening for you.
Oh, I can't believe it's having a theatrical release. I think it's to qualify for the Oscars, right? Travolta's got that in his back pocket. He's like, let it run.
We contacted Nathan and we're like, it's only playing at one theater, the AMC Rolling Hills in Torrance. Shall we make this a VOD? And Nathan shot back, theatrical.
We're waiting for theatrical.
And it kind of put us in our place, Bishke, didn't it? We were like, yeah, you're right. We got to do this.
I'm down.
We got to go to the ends of the earth for Johnnie T. Tomorrow is never promised with Travolta.
As far as we know, the theater's completely empty right now, as far as we know.
The film doesn't start for a while, so probably.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about the reservations.
The pre-res.
Nobody has reserved seats.
It's been on VOD
Sorry,
for
I'll
like
keep my
2
smart-ass
weeks.
remarks to myself.
No, I would not like you to keep your smart-ass remarks to yourself because there was something in the discussion that we were having before recording this intro that I think speaks to the heart of what we do, what we're doing, our endless Moby Dick quest for whatever it is that is John Travolta. You said a quote from American Hustle.
It's true. I'll repeat it. It won't be verbatim because my memory's not that strong.
Okay.
But there is a moment in the movie when Jennifer Lawrence is talking to, I think, Bradley Cooper about his attraction to her and says, all of the best perfume has a little bit of stink to it, and what makes it good is the fact that there's something a little bit nasty about it.
Yeah.
So what I think these Travolta thank you for that. What I think these Travolta films is the inverse of that. I think there's so much stink encrusted around that gleaming little glint in his eye that he gets when he finds a line that he likes, when he's, being allowed to shake up a champagne bottle after winning a race. You see that little gleam of that old Travolta charm in there, and that's what keeps you coming back. You're like, he's still in there. No matter what he's surrounded by, no matter
anything he does.
He does not have dead eyes like Bruce Willis.
No,
His
no,
eyes
he's
are
still there.
alive and-
His eyes are alive, and
I mean, he's got a pretty good hairpiece in this one. Actually, he looks good.
it looks a little bushy.
It's a little thick up there, but it looks good on him.
So
And it's Shania Twain's first movie.
I'm excited
as a
about that.
character.
I want to see how much gusto Shania
So her
brings.
fans might show up tonight. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Do you think you as the poster artist will get recognized in this
I should have made her bigger.
4 p.m. showing?
No, because it is, it's an overcooked action poster. We got explosions.
I think it's a great
everywhere.
poster.
But he kind of looks good, and his eyes are blue, and that's all. Old blue eyes. We're gonna go see a hot flick today. It's a hot day. We're gonna go see a hot flick.
John Travolta
Travolta.
is the old blue eyes of our generation.
I think it's gonna be competently made, maybe, and boring.
That's
That's
the prediction,
fear, right? That's the fear.
Competently made and boring. Well, to be true, it doesn't look as saucy as Gotti or or as rambunctious as Speed
He
Kills.
should have like flashbacks. He's like
But
a
there's
kinetic
there's
injury
gonna be
flashbacks.
some nutrients in there for us, and at least he's gonna be making that Travolta grin and making us believe it at least one point in this movie. That's all I hope for.
And Fathers and Son, those movies, man, Field of Dream, that's one that gets the waterworks going. So maybe
Do you think you're gonna cry during Trading Pain?
No, that's not the hope. I got very low expectations, but
If
Trading Paint,
if it
Michael
makes
Madsen.
if it makes me feel like I need to cry during the resolution of whatever father-son bullshit this movie has, I'm gonna let it flow because it will have earned it by then.
Oh, yeah. That'd be great, right? That'd be the special thing that would happen?
Brother Bishke, thank you for driving, and thank
I'm
you
focused
for
on driving. Here we go, Trading Pain.
Dave's Trading Paint.
Just quit honking the
All
horn.
right, you're done. You're done with
You're
that. All right, let's
making
get
us
in there.
paranoid. Let's get in there, y'all. I'm just a poor boy doing the best that I can. That was the end credits music for Trading Paint. We did it. We drove an hour
We
to
finally
see it
saw
in the
it.
theater. It was big. It was bold. Before we get into it, we are bursting at the seams like a champagne cork, just quaking and ready to get out. So before we do that, Bishke, what's that schnapps?
From Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, down south.
When their winning streak begins to fail, legendary father and son racing duo Sam, John Travolta, and Cam, Toby Sebastian,
Sam and Cam.
have a falling out. A rival racing giant takes advantage of this rift and offers Cam a lucrative opportunity racing for the adversary. Cam accepts, and the gap between father and son grows even bigger. Engines rev and sparks fly as the two are set against each other in an ultimate stakes race and the most dangerous competition between father and son.
Interesting.
Sort of.
Sort of.
It's a little more blood and thunder than the movie we watched.
So there were a few people in the theater. First off, Nathan, did it live up to the poster?
Did it live up to the excitement in the poster?
You've spent a percentage of your life, low as it may be, staring at that poster. Did it live up?
Or being told to put more explosions in there.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like there's no big, huge explosions. Or
There's like
one explosion.
One
There's a car flip.
One car flips and sort of blows up.
I mean, that stuff we can comment on that. That the racing stuff looked pretty good.
Are you? With all due respect, sir, are you shitting me?
I mean, what do you want? It's like it's a long lens.
Here's what I want.
Through the glass.
Here's what I want. This movie, the script is so garbage that your only hope is to make transcendent racing scenes.
Days of Thunder style.
It had like drums on the soundtrack though, like
But that's not.
like they were throwing all
That
the things
doesn't
out
make
there.
it good though. This movie
it
does
was
nothing
mediocre.
new to the racing scene. It doesn't even get the shots that you're accustomed to from like Fast and Furious stuff. You feel like
Yeah.
you are cutting among three people with reasonably decent cell phones shooting from the stands. And then you get a couple low-res GoPros. I think first generation GoPro they strapped to
It was
those
pretty
cars.
great. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
And It's not NASCAR. This is dirt track racing. So everything is not only everything shot with the GoPro Season 1s is not only not HD, but it's brown. Everything's just brown.
The whole movie's kind of brown.
The whole movie is brown, except for the cast, starring John Travolta, Shania Twain, and looking like some kind of like Muppet that you left out in the sun.
Sounding like a Muppet.
That they discontinued in like the early 70s. It's Michael Madsen. I think he had laryngitis for part of this movie.
It's hard to describe like his posture from a distance.
You know what? Let's go visual first, and then we'll go audio.
From a distance, it looks like he's a guy who like wore a neck brace, like a serious one after an accident. And he kind of couch potatoed a little bit, and then they took it off, and it's kind of like it just kind of hung.
His spine grew back weird.
Or he's always kind of wincing, sort of, right through his.
He looks like he is in such pain. Like everybody looks like they're in a mild amount of pain just from being in this movie, but he looks like it's kind of Sizemorian in a way where it like hurts for him to just exist. Like every breath is like. Another one.
In between like drunk belches.
His voice his voice exists between drunk belch sound. Like how do you it's kind of like Lupita Nyong'o, her alter ego in Us. It's kind of like that. We're racing today.
It's back talking.
But then part of it,
fucking Linsky, man.
Part of it, his name's Linsky. They say his name
Linsky
in the inevitable like low wattage drinking game that will crop up from this movie. You definitely drink whenever anybody says Linsky,
and you drink a lot. Oh man, it's Linsky, Cam, and Sam.
Cam and Sam Monroe, and
their names a lot.
They say. It's one of those movies where the track announcer talks way too much, and he sounds like because he has to do the heavy lifting for the movie because the shots are just boring ass shots of cars going around in circles. You
that was the only thing that was moving at all in the
announcer's giving it the exposition. He's trying to get you pumped up for the racing.
He's like Cam Monroe and Sam Monroe go toe to toe.
The two greatest rivals in racing.
This is a soap opera of a race. And he says that twice, like in the same minute. It's like father and son going head to head. This is Southern racing. It's like what makes that like especially Southern?
Yeah, it's Talladega, man. I mean, it's Talladega Nights.
Talladega.
Done. Talladega Nights.
Talladega Nights. It must
done
also
done seriously.
We
done
must,
drama.
in complete transparency, Brother Nathan and I, before the show, Brother David's flying home, so he has to unload his marijuana edibles, and he gave us some breast cancer awareness gummy nipples. So we each ate a nipple. And that was how we set the table for trading paint.
That's how you got to do it, right?
So
I feel like you can't go in straight here.
You can't.
It must have been hard.
No.
Let's talk about a little more about these racing scenes because they comprise, I would say.
How many were there?
They're not like dog
like
shit.
a half dozen racing scenes.
I would say it's a third of the movie.
What do you think of the racing scenes, Dave? I mean, that added the only action at all that's going on.
I found the movie kind of relaxing.
I felt it was kind of bland in that way.
It was very bland.
Just some good old American movie. You get to see some good old American people in this for sure.
Yes.
There's a lot of extras.
Well, there's a lot, but not enough to fill the stands remotely.
No.
Every race scene has the same rhythm. We get a low-res, possibly stock drone shot of a racetrack. Then we get kind of a few medium stock shots, also bizarrely low resolution, and then
tell every time.
And then you lock into the what seems like one night that they shot all of the racing scenes.
Just went around, we got it all.
And there's just kind of like some local tweakers like sitting in some bleachers, like zoning out on their phones and shit. Like they look like they're there under duress most of the time.
Yeah, they're not really paying attention to the race that much.
Yeah, the stakes. I mean,
The stakes are non-existent.
Yeah.
the stakes of each race and why it's important.
Unclear.
And what you win. You get a trophy? I mean, you get like a couple $100.
Well, evidently you do, because Shania Twain stumbles into Travolta's trophy room and strokes a few.
He
It's
has
just like
a garage filled with trophies.
so. Then it's like even more so. It's like, well, who gives a fuck? Like, what's the point?
And why wasn't he doing it like from the beginning? So they're suffering with the car, and also the son is like, "Hey man, the car, Dad, the car. We got to upgrade to do what we got to do."
Yeah,
and he keeps denying him. And
Sam Monroe is John Travolta. His son is Cam, and their equipment just isn't up to snuff. So Linsky, the sun-baked Muppet that we were talking about, kind of sleazes over and is like, "You should come race for me, kid. We got the best and the brightest."
I mean, buddy, you want to go have a drink?
And so he does, because the dude has a kid and needs to support his family, so it seems legit. But Travolta wigs out. No pun intended. His hair looks pretty good in this, actually. But
it's a couple shots.
Travolta is downright catatonic until the kid tells him, I'm going with this other dude. And then he just flips out randomly, violently in this office.
Yeah.
Bursts of yelling.
And I was like, at least he woke up.
You can tell
like,
Travolta doesn't feel the same way about NASCAR as he does about boats.
Nope.
He just doesn't have that.
We're
doesn't have that
we're
personal
sliding
interest.
right down the curve. Like Gotti is down. Like in this suite of 3 movies that we've seen on this
Gotti,
podcast, Gotti is essential. Speed Kills is highly recommended. This is probably the least essential overall, I would say. But
bottom here.
it starts out with that great feeling you get when you see John Travolta reacting to somebody doing well in a race. Mm-hmm. That's the first time you see him in this. His son's racing around, and they cut to Travolta, obviously, he's not contextually aware at all, other than doing well, okay, doing not so well, you're worried, and yes, he won! That's the direction that he gets, and he delivers every time. The camera's zooming in and out on him.
Tears when needed.
It's hilarious. I could watch John Travolta reacting to races of any sport, of any stripe, for a full feature, and that would be fine.
There was a really great, Charlie Brown, him sad, montage right in the middle of the movie.
There's some great stuff.
After the aftermath of his son telling him, I can't race for you.
It needed more montage. The montages that they had
was light.
were good. There's a country music montage where they're just showing the good old boys.
Yeah.
And
that's
it shows
great.
the American flag. And
7 times it just cuts
Magic
to the flag.
hour.
It's like Kid Rock's Podunk. I mean, they're just really...
Real.
They're real Southern people.
Just jump in the pickup truck and just drive.
Let's talk about
dream.
Travolta's attempt at an accent. He gives the most half-baked Southern accent that I've seen in recent memory. Would that have been... If he would have accepted the role of Forrest Gump, is this what we would have gotten?
But it wouldn't just like that, right? That's all he can deliver.
It's so...
It felt
it goes in and out.
Too. It was he had he had chew in his mouth. There's something.
There was something weird about it.
There was the accent, but then he's not comfortable doing it.
Bishki, can you...
The weirdest voice, you want me to try it?
Try it. Talk about Linsky.
It'd be like, you mean you tell me you're gonna race for Linsky now?
I mean, that's it.
You gotta, about as lazy.
You gotta put
it's lazy.
Can someone try to do Shania Twain?
Okay,
voice?
let's talk about Shania. There was something. Okay,
I want to hear.
It's not acting.
It's not acting. I don't know if you guys will connect to this, but if anybody will, I think it's you guys. I was spending the whole movie trying to nail it down. She reminds me of when I was a teenager making home movies, and I needed another adult to just be a news reporter or something. And it would be your mom's friend or just your random neighbor that's around your mom's age would come on and give the news report or whatever. And she has that quality where it's like, oh, somebody's mom's friend just came in and is filling in today. Isn't that great? There's something just... It's not acting.
No.
It's definitely not acting.
It's not acting.
I want to say, she kind of won me over a little. There's a couple of sequences where he pulls up somewhere and she literally comes out of the dark.
Yes.
And she's got that smile. I mean, Shania's pretty.
Can we talk about that scene? Because this might be the most stealth salad dragon ever. This is what I felt it was, and you guys might have different opinions, but it is this scene that you're talking about where Travolta pulls up in his truck, and Shania is raking leaves at night in the darkness, just in the darkness. And I leaned over to Bishki and I'm like, #night rake. And she's
having a night rake.
She's just having a night rake. And he basically comes up to her and he's just like, they've had just this oddly sexless romance.
They kind of like reach out for each other but stop. They're
Sort
not
of.
kissing.
They just hug a lot. They hug all the time.
He says, I
Nice
love you,
kiss.
and she's like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, he says he's like I just love you, and she's like I don't know what to say, which is a fucking diss. That means creepo, you've been misreading the signs.
Yeah.
And he's like,
And
I'll come by tomorrow. I'll
She-
come
yeah.
by tomorrow. We'll talk about it.
She's
It's
like I don't know
dude,
what to
blood.
say, and he kisses her and he's like don't say anything. I'll come by tomorrow and we'll talk about it. Talk about what?
This is the
This is a
romance.
problem, dude. If she says I don't know what to say right now after you say you love her, every dating guide in the universe will say, nah, brah.
Yeah.
Back off.
They have a scene after that though, right? Where
They do.
Yeah,
But in that moment, he gets back in his truck with that weird smile, and she just goes back to the night raking. Like, what is she doing? It's so creepy. Like,
There's
who
a couple
is
of
she?
under spotlit moments. It must just be
There's
where
also
they shot.
there's
They shot a lot at night.
there's a picnic too where they
love
have
that
a Tupperware of cheese cubes, and they're just hanging out by the creek. And
I thought it was a flashback.
no.
I knew
It's
I
this
knew it would
weird
go.
tender talk between them that there's really no cuts. They were just like, we have two superstars in front of the lens. We have John Travolta and Shania Twain.
They really thought they had something.
And we're just gonna let it roll on them. Never mind that Shania Twain's not an actor. Like, these are legends of their own art forms.
Yeah, nothing connects.
And
really.
Shania never
She blinks.
sings, which is
Nope.
disappointing.
Oh,
No.
I thought she was gonna sing for him.
Yeah.
And that was gonna be
At
the
least the
connection.
national anthem.
Yeah.
Like there's
Yeah, they have
there's
a couple
so
of
many
shots.
races. Just have her sing. Her character is nothing.
What is she? A friend of the family?
She's a neighbor. I think at one point he's like, "Howdy, neighbor," and then they hug.
Up the street.
It's weird. It's one of the weirdest movie relationships. Like, and I thought we were gonna get a sex scene. Like, I was way.
Was this R? I heard some F-bombs drop.
There were a lot of F-bombs.
I think,
I think there's some off-color.
But there was one that was like hilariously de-F-bombed, where they tried to cover it, but they cut to the sun and his mouth is halfway saying something else. He's like,
Yeah.
frick this. Frick you, man. Frick.
They're trying to get all the international markets or something. You know?
Yeah. There was another shot where Travolta's talking to his son's wife, and I don't know why they thought that this was the right framing, but her reflection, she's in a truck and there's like heavy duty, like 3 mirrors, 2 convex, and like this giant mirror on the side of the truck, and they're dirty mirrors.
Yeah.
So
Filthy.
there's like all these dirt spots all over it. So it's her face times 3 because it's being reflected 3 times.
Yeah, you got a kick out of that shot.
And there's all this dirt that makes her look like a leper. It's amazing. Like, just clean off
Artful.
the mirror. I mean, it's not like we were.
I think the DP was bored.
the DP was very bored.
He was just looking for.
The crew feels bored.
Yeah.
It's just like, can I throw up?
Well, I think the
lights and
DP
stuff?
also, like, anything that would have been interesting, they're like, oh, that's going to be stock footage. There's so much stock footage in this, in between scenes, like the moon, and
There is
the sun
like
going down.
chemical haze, like magic hour, God shot aerial over some baseball field, or I don't know where the hell they were.
Yeah,
But you could tell it was stock, but it was beautiful.
there were some walkouts in the theater too. There were 2 people right off the bat, pretty much, that were just not having it. And then I made note that these other 2 guys left right after someone. I think the announcer was like, "Sam Monroe is back, and he once again is king of the dirty oval." Because it's like dirt racing.
Dirty oval.
Or it was something like
Was that
dirt.
said in the movie?
Yeah, something like dirt oval.
Oh.
And they just were like, nope, that must have been the thing that broke it. They were out.
Yeah.
The worst insult is it's just drab.
Well,
It's just
and then the
one
other thing
flowing-
is
flows into
Madsen
it.
isn't even that bad. What's the worst thing that he does? Sam is on the radio kind of making fun of him, saying, I should knock him out of the race.
He does kind of about, sweep the leg.
And he just...
sweep the leg.
He destroys the radio and then just kind of sniffles and walks away. And then he does want Cam to knock Sam out of the race. But then later he's like, that was dumb. I apologize.
Obviously, he's the only drama, in the movie.
But he's not that bad. Like,
No, we need a bad guy. We need some conflict.
No, I'm saying he's the bad guy, so we need him to be a little bit more,
much more.
a lot more.
Anything.
Much more.
And that's
Nothing's
the drama
happening.
of your movie.
And the whole time, Travolta needs more money to get a better car. So I'm like, that's where the explosions from Nathan's glorious poster are going to come in. Is he's going to need to rob a bank or blow up a gas truck or something.
This isn't like a Days of Thunder. This is no Days of Thunder.
He ends up just selling the car that his wife died in, and then going and buying a car from a dude that built a car with all the best stuff. He doesn't build it with his son, which would have been the thing that would have tied your whole theme together. He just goes and buys it from this funny old dude.
Yeah, that dude came in, he was just nodding his head, looking at him really creepily.
And you can tell, he's a friend of the family, too, because you tell them, okay, they're going to pull up, and you just give them a little nod. Well, somebody who's not an actor will just continuously nod the entire time they pull up. So he's nodding for a straight minute as the car pulls up. It is amazing. But anyway, and then there's a long, seemingly improv story about how Stumpy, Travolta's friend, gets his leg bit off.
So his character name is Stumpy?
Yeah.
You knew you're in for it as soon as he's like, come here.
You've seen him.
Yeah.
He's a character actor.
Sit down.
In certain comedies.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a story about how I lost my leg.
And you can see him thinking it up as he goes.
And it's going to be at least a 5-minute story.
And it is.
Yeah.
And Shania
People are
Twain,
sitting back and creaking the chairs.
you can tell that it's made up on the spot too, because Shania Twain is reacting in the moment to it. She's laughing, and she looks at the camera twice.
I see her.
It's
her
amazing.
mouthing the other actors' lines too. There was
Yeah.
many sequences of that where she's reading what he's saying.
I mean,
she's not an actor.
basically nobody's going to see this, so it's the best way to just get practice,
On camera.
Just get practice on camera.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, dude.
I mean, who gives a shit? All right, is there anything else that we really need to talk about? A lot of racing.
Talked about the
a
sound.
lot
I
of
kind of
films.
like they cut to a country song, right when they cut all the sound out. When his son wins,
Yes.
they drop all the sound out and they cut to a country song,
Yep.
like it's the credits.
Yeah.
And that to me was pretty special.
The music was pumping, and then
complete
on the
reverse.
last lap, they hit the chorus, and there's lyrics suddenly to the song. So it's oh my god,
Boy song, yeah.
it's hilarious.
and then the
country
final
film.
celebration, I think, has about 12 people.
it is sparsely
around the
attended.
main characters.
Yeah.
And right behind Travolta is this hip-looking black guy, and I'm like, you are not at this dirt track event, sir, but I love that
You're there
you
that
are.
day.
You're so pumped. You're so into it. And another funny thing is, they, through just music and showing Travolta doing his biggest exclamations of grandeur after his son wins, it's all taken care of with the music. Everybody's hugging. You don't need anything else. Then an interviewer comes over to the son and is like, so you just pulled away and you won. You pulled your car in front of the other one and you ended up winning. That was amazing. And it just takes everything down a notch as they completely recount the dumbass thing we just watched that's not hard to decipher.
The movie does that a lot, yeah.
And then it freeze frames and then it's over. So it's you have your high note to end on, to freeze frame on, which would be Travolta's weird puppy dog crying face that he tries to make. No tears. No tears are coming.
It's wetness there.
But it's a funny face. You freeze on that. Don't stop the action, rephrase everything, and then freeze. Because then we all just shuffled out all right.
I think we really got to get to the bottom of why is Travolta picking these roles right now?
Man.
Or why does an actor
Like, definitively, why
He
is an
looks
actor
cool. He's ready to play.
just at this age? Why do you just take like all these like
God.
really fast and loose scripts? There's got to be something in it for him.
Somebody must be slipping. Like, there are so many Tarantino fetishists around. He's got to be getting at least a couple interesting things slipped across his
He
desk.
must have a dozen of these all the time at his house.
He
like,
might
once a
just
week.
have ridiculous taste. Do he and Nicolas Cage get together and just have a laugh?
Yeah, I mean, like,
I was just trying to see common threads too, like all this thing like father and son, or father losing his son, and he did that.
Well,
in
this
real life.
movie
So I'm
movie
thinking,
has a
is he
lot of
picking
similarities with
scripts?
Speed Kills.
Yeah, Speed
Like,
Kill. It's like the same.
It's the
kind of
same thing.
So
they
there's
must have
something.
given the entire budget goes to Travolta, and
Yeah.
then they're just stuck with not much.
There were about 12.
Madsen though. Too.
There were about 12 production company logos at the beginning too, which is great. The head of which
Oh,
was
they're out of
Saban,
focus. Yeah.
Saban's
Saban, yeah.
a production
who
company
does
as well.
Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
I love it. Great company.
And they're a Titan or whatever. Yeah, but you're in for something when there's like
Yeah.
12 or and they're all like Thunder or Coastline.
Ellipses.
Eclipses. Yeah,
Raven Productions with a little
There's-
raven.
Oh, okay. And where is all the money coming for this? And what did they think it was going to be? And
I
it's
love
not
it.
an action.
I love thinking about all that, and I love thinking about all of those people, hundreds of people ultimately involved amongst all the companies, checking this one out and just seeing the fruit of their of their efforts.
It's exciting.
Director
somebody.
Tarzan Cater.
Tarzan. All right, let's go to those bones. Brother Bishke, what do you got going on?
I was struggling a little bit to stay awake.
It was so relaxing.
Feels like a
It
trademark.
was very
for the
relaxing.
podcast.
Like, it was just one sleepy dialogue scene after another, and even
So
Yes.
sleepy,
Yes.
dude.
Yes.
Even the
brown and sleepy.
yeah, and even the racing was kind of lulling me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's a down step from our previous two
It is.
Travolta films.
Brother Zach
And
would have been a bit disappointed.
I'm
by
glad.
this one.
Yeah, I'm
Doesn't
glad
have a
we
lot
didn't
of-
force Zach down to Torrance.
He's 2 for 2.
But we'll keep an eye on Travolta. We're not going to keep an eye on Shania. I think she did a one and done performance, but I'm going to give it one bone.
Okay.
Because I don't know why.
That's fair. All of that is completely fair. Brother Nathan,
I always try to go back and
are you
think-
too close to this one, man?
No, I mean, like, there it sits. It's sold as a genre picture, and it had all this, like, excitement, but it was a drama. And it was kind of, lulled you into a quiet state of mind while you're watching it. I felt like, and he was fine. He didn't, like, step
Sure.
out, or he's like, oh, bad beat of, I mean, it's all bad acting, but he held it together for me fine.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, this could play to the right audience. The love story is enough for people sometimes.
Is it? But this
they're
one-
hugging a lot. But
this-
it
it's all
shoulda-
hugs.
It should have gone the other level. Maybe they found each other repugnant. I have no idea how it works. They could have had some kissing, right?
At
I
least-
think the People magazine
At least a
readers.
peck.
I just think it could appeal, to a certain audience who wants to go maybe on a Friday, Saturday night and see this kind of NASCAR because it's big. But this wasn't really that exciting, right? It's more of a quiet drama. So there it stands. I'm like, I'm in that one bone world as well. So one little shaky bone in the can, and I don't know, like the excitement of the racing was like my only high. It wasn't exciting.
I can't
racing
believe
footage.
you even are remotely
me-
praising these racing
to
scenes.
me, that broke it up.
That is
nicely
ridiculous.
For me, and I love seeing Madsen like all crooked and jammed in that helmet, and it was like trying to be Days of Thunder with your buddies, and that's what you got,
Yeah.
So it was kind of like just I gave over a little bit to it, but
I'm gonna.
one bone, man.
It's a bone. I mean, I'm gonna think back fondly on this. I would say it's almost. It's so dumb, but it's like a pleasant movie. I don't know. Like, there's nothing offensive about it. You could put this on for the whole family, like around Christmas time or after Thanksgiving, after you've eaten too much, and you're just laying around. It's like, what should we put on to fall asleep to? You put on Trading Paint.
It's a Travolta film.
I want to give it, just to be a little different, bone and a half.
Okay.
The extra half bone is for Michael Madsen alone. Just because it's kind of, again, much like Sizemore, you kind of look past the movie that they're in. It's like, what were you doing in the hotel during the making of this? Like, what was your life like surrounding this performance? You know, and you can see it on their face. Like, they're not invested in this character of Linsky. You know, like he's not.
I liked his tracksuit though. I liked his tracksuit and his.
I love the whole image of
Great
it.
Look, I like his hat.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
He and Johnnie T need something better to do. Like, if they're in a movie together, which is funny because Madsen was supposed to play Vincent Vega, which would have changed the course of history.
Of course.
So, if you graft that history onto the race, it makes it even spicier.
Jeez, I didn't even think about that.
But it's like, if you give these guys are still vibrant.
They're coming off of something too, like Hateful Eight for Madsen. I mean, like Travolta at least has some kind of like. If he chose,
they have to choose. They have to want to. We can't do anything for them. They have to do it for themselves. So,
like they had early in the script, they're like, "Hey guys, we got a bunch of scenes where you guys like come at each other, for real." We're cutting all that out like a week before. Like we're gonna cut it all out. You guys just do the scenes where you're sitting. Be in your office, or you be in your auto shop.
I think there's one scene between those two.
I know, and it could have been spicier.
A lazy scene.
So I feel like when Travolta and Madsen listen to this podcast, because they will. They'll
get to it.
They're scouring the net looking for reviews of Trading Paint in any form. So when they see that extra little half bone that I gave them, that's going to be the thing that they're like, they're going to call each other up and be like, you know what, Lodge Master's right. We need to get this shit together and make at least one great movie again before we pass on to Xenu or whatever.
I gotta get it together.
Because I believe in them. I'll follow them both to the end of the rainbow. Like, let's do this, guys.
I mean, we're in the Chris Walken days with him. I went into the Chris Walken era, darkness.
The Chris Walken salad days.
Because they're still in it. All of them are still in it.
All right, guys. Well, that's Trading Paint.
We did
that's Johnnie T. That's
0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
We traded paint. We're trading paint. We traded paint.
All right, let's do this, folks.
We're headed straight to Chili's, y'all. So we're gonna lick our wounds there, and love and light to all y'all.
Love and light, y'all.
This is dirt track racing.